and Diana Olick, because Steve and Diana, don't make me get between you, because the two of you have been going back and forth on Twitter rather politely over today's housing starts number. Now, the Commerce Department said that starts fell 17% last month to the lowest level in a year. Steve, you said it's the cold weather is the reason. Diana, you said not so fast. Diana, I'm going to turn it over to you to make your case first.
Okay, well, I want to focus first on single-family housing only, because that's where we really need to identify the problems, because that's where we have no supply. And single-family, let's remember back to last February when everybody was blaming everything on the weather because average temperatures were well below normal and it was a horrible winter. You have single-family housing starts in the Northeast down 40% from last winter, which was a terrible winter, down 14% in the Midwest. That's got to be something bigger than weather. Then you look to building permits, which are an indicator of future construction. They're down 7%. We're talking about the future when it is warmer. They're also down 6% in the South, which wasn't hit by terrible weather. So I believe there is a much larger problem going on in home construction right now. I can tell you what it is, but I'm going to give Steve a chance to argue back.
Well, I think, Diana, you misread the weather. I mean, yes, last winter was bad, but this winter may have been worse. Here are some facts from NOAA that I think might be worth looking at before saying don't blame the weather, which was your tweet that got me excited. Number one, 10 states in the Northeast had the second coldest February on record. I'm talking on record 120 years. Number two, the 56% plunge in Northeast housing starts was the most in history. Unless you think there's some depression going on out there, I think you have to blame something like the weather. Number three, 25 states in the Northeast, and yes, Diana, the South and the Midwest, representing 51% of the population and 78% of housing starts had, according to NOAA, much below average temperatures. I don't think housing is going gangbuster, Diana,
okay,
but I don't think it's plunging at a 17% rate, and I think you could very well blame the weather.
You can blame it, I said, for part of it. But look, you also have, you like numbers. You're a numbers guy. Guess what? The Northeast and the Midwest in February make up less than 10% of all housing starts. And maybe the South was lower.
Because they fell because of the weather. That's why they represent so little.
No, when you look historically, even in June, I'm talking in June, I looked back at the numbers. In June, they make up barely 20% of housing starts in the nation.
I went back over 6 years, Diana. The three regions together, the South, the Midwest, and the Northeast.
But you want to look at the bigger problems. You want to talk about numbers, or you want to talk to the builders?
Don't make me send you to your room without dinner. Both.
I had a nice big lunch, Brian. So
it actually worked. That never works at home.
Talk to a builder, talk to a buyer, and they'll tell you what the problem in housing is now. You got to wrap it up.
2 quick points to wrap up the segment. Number one, Steve, you keep talking about NOAA. I don't know what a guy who collects animals knows about the housing market, but that said, Diana, how about this?
A lot about weather.
Yes, he does. That's true.
He knows a lot about weather.
If that's weather, then why are permits down? Why are the permits down if it's all about weather?
Permits are up 3% on the month, Diana.
It's just like at home.
On the month. On the month,
hey, guys, one point here. I'm sorry, guys. Won't we just find out if it was the weather next month? Because theoretically, if it was the weather in February, Steve, all those starts will happen next month?
I think in
part. So you're going to see a 40% bounce next month?
I think in part you'll find out. And look, I'm not saying housing is gangbusters. I'm saying that a good portion...
Talk to a builder.
One person at a time, guys. Come on.
I have a serious point, Diana. I'm just going to get louder until it works, and I can win in that competition. Diana, here's the question. All right, yesterday, the National Association of Home Builders, we were looking at their numbers, came out, and something caught my eye. They're talking about labor shortages. Is it possible that part of the problem is if you can't find a worker, you can't build a house?
That's what I'm trying to get out here, is when you talk to the builders and when you talk to the buyers, they're talking about prices being too high and the premium for new homes. The builders are saying, Ara Hovnanian said it himself last week. He said, we're dialing down on the spec homes because they're concerned about selling these homes because the price points are high. I talked to a builder yesterday. He said, I can't find the dirt to buy a cheaper home. They can't. They don't have the market. And I said, why don't you build a $200,000 home? You'll have plenty of buyers. He says, I can't find the dirt to do that because he cannot afford. The builders can't do it. So they're keeping the price points high, and they have a smaller demand for that price point.
Okay, let's wrap it up, guys. Melissa, would you agree that they're both winners?